I like that one. It's good. It's good to me. I love that for me. That'll be out sometime soon on the Patreon and then probably on the streaming services in the not too distant future. Guess what? Guess what? I'm making a lot of music. It's fucking fun. It's great. I'm having a great time. I am going through my notes. We got a big episode this week. We got a lot of energy going on always. Doesn't stop, comes at you fast. I know we do get, I know it may seem implausible or unbelievable right now, but if you can believe it, you should get your experience of it. But we do get collectively to relax and chill out at some point. That does happen. I promise you. It is happening. And if you accept it, we perceive it quickly in this world. It is undeniable that many of us are going through rapid transformations, rapid revelations. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that is following what you love, what you really feel like you're supposed to be doing, life is going to kick the shit out of you right now. And it's really you. That's the whole thing. I know we had shadow realms. I know we had this whole duality, kind of dark shadow contact. All those narratives exist. If you want to play those games, have a great fucking time. That means anything from astrology to religion to science to anything. It's all up for grabs. You want to believe it, it's true. You don't want to believe it, it's not true. Really, for you. Now, when I say believe, it is a subconscious kind of true belief thing. Your subjective opinions of what you feel to be true will constantly be expressed. What does that mean? If you're not getting the reflection of reality that you feel you want, that is a schism. There is a break in this bridge between your conscious, your objective mind, and your subconscious, your subjective mind. The masculine we typically refer to as the objective, reasoning, logical mind. The feminine would be the subjective, subconscious. The feminine is what creates this world. I love the feminine. Everyone knows this about me. I've known this for a long time. I just resonate very strongly with the creative, generative aspect of reality. When it clicked for me that I could actually use my objective, rational, conscious mind and build a bridge to the subjective, that's when shit got super fun. And we all recognize this in little moments throughout our existence of being human, or whatever we call this shit. Human's really becoming a tough term to hold up. Someone just invented that. They're just like human. We'll call this human. And everyone's like, all right, I guess we'll call it human. Cool. We don't know really what we are. We know we're not what we think we are. We know we're not what we perceive ourselves to be physically. So I don't know that we should be using that term. We got to come up with something else. Someone send in your suggestions, noah@syncpodcast.com. What do we call that? Okay. So there's a lot of shit we're going to cover in this episode. We're going to be dealing with the subconscious mind. We're going to be dealing with narratives. We're going to basically be bringing it back to the essential truth that your imagination is God, right? Whatever you conceive God to be, the more you can expand your conception of what God is without it kind of being like, that's a weird word, or I don't know about that. The better off you're going to be, because that is your imagination. It's a higher dimensional you, version of you. We're going to talk also a lot about individuality, right? And what that actually means, right? If we break down the word indivisible, there really is no separation at the core of what individuality means, right? Yes, we perceive the one through many different lenses. That's us as people, or whatever we want to call ourselves. But our individuality is never actually separate from anything. There's no returning. This is weird. It's weird because they're both in duality, is like this remembering and returning and ascension and all this stuff. But in actuality, that's not really true. It's the misapprehension or thinking that that's what's going on that actually perpetuates that situation. If you would like to stabilize your consciousness, more often than not, there are many routes to doing that. A lot of us choose the routes of throwing ourselves internal problems or issues or obstacles or situations, but we get caught up that we were throwing ourselves these things like difficult passes that we need to catch, right? As soon as I think about football. I'm not going to talk about football. We'll save that for later. Like difficult passes we need to catch. So these are obstacles that we set in our life. This could be a challenging relationship. It could be a challenging financial situation, a challenging professional situation, friendship situation, anything in your life that could be coming up. An energy that you're perceiving, galactic beings infiltrating, DMT overlords sucking your soul, whatever it is. We throw these things in our way to basically prove to ourselves two things. One, that we're capable of overcoming any fucking obstacle we throw away. That's just a fact. That's just a fucking fact. That's very few facts that I think hold up universally. That's one of them. Two, we do it because we also want to test ourselves and make sure that this is something we truly believe, right? If it's not something we truly believe, we're going to play this bounce back game. And a lot of people are caught in this game right now, this oscillation game. This is where we forget that we really are running the show, that our internal, when we go within, actually dictates what we experience without. This happens to all of us. I was very ready to believe that there were DMT entities sucking my soul and that, I'd have to do battle with them in the astral realms. And perhaps that's true, but you know what? I don't got time for that shit right now, guys. You know what I mean? I just don't have time for that shit. So I'm just going to continue to assume that my imagination is God, that I create, sustain, and destroy everything in my field of awareness. And that's what we're all doing. And it's not in a weird way. It's pretty cool. Okay. Let's talk about prayer. Okay. Prayer. What is prayer? If you are praying to an external being, deity, planet, God, goddess, energy, that's fine. I'm not here to tell you that that's wrong. I'm just here to remind you that that's you projecting from within you those characters, those archetypes, those energies, and then you're saying, hey, that's real. Can you give me something? If you remember that, it's fun, it's cool, you can do it. There can be a forgetting that it is you, right? That's really fucking important, right? That's how we get caught up in just like what we refer to as 3D or real or whatever, regular shit. And regular shit, by the way, that needle will move. What we perceive now as abnormal or outside of the realm of regular shit. So like, I don't know, talking to dead people, psychic stuff, whatever we refer to as outside the range of normal everyday stuff, paying bills and shit like that. That needle is going to move. So really weird shit is going to seem normal. But just remember, this is you. This is you engaging with narratives that you project and are aware of and can engage with. If you forget that, it gets weird. It gets uncomfortable at times because then you've given away your power. Not really, because it's still your power, but seemingly to external reality, which you then think is going to validate you in some way, which it will not until you recognize that you do it from the inside out. Cool. So what do you do when you pray? Okay, this is all you do. We call it the imaginal techniques. We call it whatever you want. You imagine, you go within, whatever you want to call that screen within, from within your own perspective. You just, what is it that you want? That's the first thing I kind of went on that like rant last week. You really need to focus on what it is that you want. That is difficult. I know Jessa, I think, just did a podcast about this, and I've been literally like blasting it through my head for the past 2 weeks because a lot of people for the readings are calling up and they're like, I just don't know. Is this really what I want, or is it what I think I want? I'm like, you know. You definitely know. You need to be honest with yourself. You need to be clear that like it's not selfish to do what you want to do. You will naturally calibrate. Here's the thing. You calibrate to a piece. I was talking about this in the crypto live thing we did on yesterday on Instagram. By the way, Bitcoin fucking passed 20,000. We're good. So it's going to be $200,000 probably in a couple years, maybe less. Just have a fun time. Anyway, in the chat I was saying you naturally calibrate to harmony, balance, grace, and abundance. That's where you naturally will flow to. You could think of yourself like a river, and you are flowing down to an ocean of harmony, love, grace, abundance, peace. That's literally where you naturally want to go. Can you make yourself rigid and kind of like sticky and like change the viscosity? Did I use the word viscosity? I did. Can you change your viscosity to cling to certain obstacles or rocks or tree branches that might be on the path of the river that flows to the ocean? Absolutely. You can do that. That is obviously a choice of yours, but you will naturally, if you let yourself go, cascade into that realm. Now, the limited conceptions of self may find that to be a terrifying prospect. What happens if I flow into this amazing, blissful state? Do I have to stay there forever? Will I never experience any other polarities that perhaps I came here to experience? No, of course not. That's ridiculous. I'm just saying naturally, that is where you are meant to calibrate to. When you feel you can't give yourself that from within, from the inside, you will run infinite patterns and scripts and programs to basically make yourself realize that. Some of them will be positive. Some of them will be negative. They'll be in duality. If you're here, they're in duality. So just makes you, Jesus Christ, make sure that you understand it. It's always you from the inside. Basically, this whole episode is going to be me talking about that. We'll do some Jesus stuff too for fun. All right, let's talk about like after you pray for something, what do you do? So you've imagined the end. You figured out what you want. You don't have to share it with anyone. In fact, initially, I'm brazen. I share things out loud with people and sometimes publicly of things I've imagined before they happen. You really got to have experience with that, I feel like. Remember that you do have experience with it because you will be tested. You will test yourself. Seems to be some aspect of inner fear or doubt or anxiety that will immediately be projected back to you through other people, through thoughts and all those things. That's cool. If you can deal with that, it's kind of like, hitting a home run on a really like tough curveball from a lefty. I don't know why I'm using sports analogies. I'm in a sports analogies type of mood. Guess that's who I'm targeting. Anyway, you can do it, but you don't have to. You don't share necessarily what you've imagined for yourself. You should have these thoughts or feelings in your head when you know it's done. It is done. It is finished. That's just that type of resonant feeling and message should move within you. It is done. It is finished. That's it. Repeat it to yourself if you need to. It's okay. Now, what do you need to do after that? Do you need to go and do something? Do you have to go and take a series of steps and actions? Do you have to figure out why, where, when, how, what? Absolutely not. Don't. Trust that your subconscious, your subjective, your feminine aspect of you have just basically impregnated, to use that analogy, with your conscious mind, something into your subconscious mind. It will compel you to take action to fulfill your ideal. Doesn't mean you just sit on your ass and shit just flows to you constantly and you just don't have to do anything. That could be a reality. I mean, that is a reality if you want it to be. Most people don't want that. You don't incarnate in a world of duality and like this place if that's not something you actually want. That's something you actually want. Most people don't want that experience. They want the going through the actions, but just don't worry about what actions you need to take. You will know if you're operating from a space of peace, calm, loving awareness, you're going to make good decisions. Alternatively, if you're operating from a space of hate, fear, insecurity, you're going to probably make some bad decisions. Just because it's harder to get clarity in those states. That's all. It's not complicated. Once you fix the reality, your desire in your consciousness, you're basically, that's it. You're just letting it be yours. You're essentially rising to a dimensional reality, moving to a timeline, whatever you want to call it, where that exists, which it eternally exists. Everything eternally exists. You are literally one being. Okay, we're all one being. This is super weird to understand. You're like, oh, we're not. What are you talking about? I'm listening to a podcast. It's you. I'm me. What you talking about? Obviously, that is what's going on. But also, we are one being, truthfully. So that means collectively, all of the experiences, all of the people who have ever existed in linear time, which is an illusion, in linear time, you know about. Truthfully, internally, if you go in, you can actually experience that. It explains very, I don't want to say basic shit, but like things like remote viewing and astral projection to glean data that can be proven in this world. That shit exists, obviously. If that works ever, it works all of the time, right? So that's cool. You have access to everything is what I'm trying to point out. But when you go inside and you imagine your thing and you accept that it's done, you're essentially inviting and pooling, kind of feeding this reality that we experience here, which is a dream. It's totally a dream. I know it seems real. It's okay. Don't freak out. It's totally fine. It's the coolest dream I've ever been in. Would I like to fly sometimes just by lifting off like I do when I go to sleep? Sure. But I'm willing to sacrifice that for a little bit in linear time to do all this other cool stuff. It's worth it. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't worth it. Also, let me remind you, you are here because you want to be here. You loved this version of yourself as an aspect of the one. You peeled off and you said, yo, I love this person. This person, I love it. I love this. Whatever this is, I want that in my life. I'm going to do that. You know what? I think I'm going to do that for that entire life. You know, forever, potentially. I'm going to do that. So this should reassure you that you're not doing this because you're in some horrible hell realm. Now, your consciousness is powerful enough that you can create that. Of course. We see it all the time. Look out in the world. You see people doing that all the time. But it also means you can do the opposite. But you loved yourself enough to be here. So trust that what you love here is a natural expression of your love for yourself, which is a natural expression of love for everything, which is why we do this, which is fun and it's cool and it's badass. So that's basically what's going on here. So just you don't need to be like, oh no. Also, in terms of individuality, don't worry about it. We were talking about that before. You're good. You want to remember you as you will. You want to remember you as not you will. You will reunite with whatever energy you find pleasing, loving, truthful. I guarantee it. Like, that's just what's going on. So you don't have to worry about, will I lose my identity? Maybe, maybe not, but don't even worry about it. And the answer is no, you don't. You'll have the resonant images. You can do this whenever you want. It's kind of like returning to a place you enjoy. As long as you enjoy it, by all fucking means. Well, you think it's going to be ripped away from you? Oh, no, I don't know. Please. That's what this is, guys. What you fear so much potentially with death and being stripped of your identity, that's literally what this is. That's what we forgot that we're everything. We forgot we're an aspect of the one. We forgot that we're God. That's what this is. Were you worrying about, will I be Noah? Will I be Susan? Will I be Sarah? Will I be Tom? Don't fuck with your get. You'll be you for as long as you want to be. And when you don't want to be, it won't be weird. You'll be like, I think I'm ready to take off this particular garment. I don't think I need it so much. And it'll be cool. It's like the Ram Dass thing, what Emmanuel told him. It's like taking off an old shoe. That is true. Okay. There is this idea. You are God. You are man. You are both. You know everything. This is true for everyone. If you start to think it's only true for you, you've gone off the course. You've strayed a little bit off. It's true for everyone, which means, what does that mean? You're responsible for every fucking thing within your field of awareness. If you see something that you don't like and you try to blame circumstances, situations, people, wrong. Doesn't work like that. Sorry, when you really start living from the space of being God and the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of everything you see, you give up the ability to blame other people for your shit. That compels you to take a journey within to really test this shit out. Is it really how it works? Are you sure that's how it works? I don't know. Seems like that might be wrong. I got a wonderful question. Let's just deviate a little bit. We're going to go into some money stuff. I know a lot of money stuff's coming up for people. I know. So I got a great question in a crypto live on an Instagram yesterday. And I forget who it was, but she was like, basically, listen, I hear you and other people talk about like manifestation and money, but then I also hear you talking about taking out a bunch of loans. Like, how do I know this doesn't just blow up in your face and you fucked everything up? And I was like, that's an amazing question. And if you think I haven't asked myself that before, that would be kind of scary. Don't listen to anything I say if you don't think I'm asking myself these questions internally. The truth is this. I do go to the worst case scenario before I decide to do something. It is an acknowledgement that something could go totally different than the way I thought it would be, which happens enough that I know that it can happen. But so what if it happens? Like, what's really going on here? If money is just energy, right? And it's how you use it and what you use it for and what your intention really is about. You're pretty much guarded from creating more harm and dissonance in whatever realm you're working with, right? That's love, money, anything in the world, like anything you can focus on. If you're coming at it from that approach, you won't create catastrophe or chaos or, dissonance. You really won't. I've seen this enough. I've seen myself do shit that surely should have caused chaos. Clearly should have been a bad situation, but my intention was pure because I didn't know any better. It was totally fine. And you see this a lot of the time in the world where you can look at someone, take two people doing the exact same action, exact same background, exact same circumstances. One person wildly successful, the other person totally not. And it's based on their internal belief. So the money stuff, here's the thing. It is energy. It is yourself. If you feel, I know it sounds wrong. I know also if you're in situations, and I've been in these situations and I've gone through it specifically over the past, I threw down fucking $70,000 last year for child support. This year, I'm saying last year. Is this year over yet? $70,000, right? Not paying that much anymore right now, thankfully. It was draining me. Do you know what that feels like? I don't know if you know. I don't make that kind of money where I can just drop 70 grand. But I did know that money was needed, at least at the time, for my children. And I have no problems doing whatever I need to do to make sure that they are in the life that I imagined for them. So I took out loans. I took out business loans. I took out personal loans. Some of the business loans totally forgiven. There's probably another round of funding coming for them too. I spoke about those, the PPP and even the EIDLs. Anyway, took out personal loans, some with great interest rates, some with not so great interest rates. Here's the deal. I make all my payments on time. I always have enough. And I'm sure you've found you always have enough. What I mean by enough is whatever you feel that you are deserving of, whatever you feel is your situation. Are you month to month? Can you only do this? Are you only able to make money from these places? Those aren't valid excuses anymore. You can't actually say those things. There's infinite opportunity. You could just look from the actual world out there, the internet, there's infinite ways to make money if you really want to. You don't want a 9-to-5, you don't even have to do that anymore. Those are being phased out. It's not about making money, using your time. It's about a feeling of how you would like to feel and use these energies around you. That's what we're all teaching ourselves. That's why I am involved in cryptocurrency. It's not because I'm a crypto bro and just want to make bills, bro. That's fine. That's cool. It's because I love watching the mechanism at play of people revealing to themselves that their belief, their convictions literally are reflected back to them. And in a realm where money holds a lot of power for a lot of people because it's been a dominant structure and kind of power mechanism for a long fucking time, there's a lot of energy there. I like working with a lot of energy. It's probably why I like drugs. There's energy there. Is it okay to say I like drugs? I like drugs because there's energy there. I find if you know how to handle this stuff, which you have to trust that you do. If you don't do any of it. Don't get involved with this shit if you don't trust yourself. Trust yourself, number one. Trust that you know what you want. Trust that you know what you love. I didn't think I'd love looking at fucking Bitcoin charts and altcoin charts and, I love it. It's really fun. I have to accept that I look at things in my life, and I'm sure you have them too. I love football. It's a dumb, stupid fucking sport. It's very obvious it's dumb. I love it. I genuinely love it. Sorry if it's wrong. I'm not going to fight that shit. I love it. And it's not because I'm fucked up. It's not. It's just cool. And I love it. And I hope the Dolphins make the fucking playoffs. Why can't the Browns beat the Ravens the other night? I know it's a classic game. Come on, guys. Can you help the Dolphins out? They really deserve it. Brian Flores is good. He's Hood Jay-Z fucking of the NFL. Marcy Projects. Come on. I'm going to be at that Super Bowl when it happens, which is hopefully soon. Okay. You know that you know. When you know that you know, you're good. Then you don't question yourself. Then your doubt doesn't come in. There's a certainty in your conviction of what you imagine to be true, what you felt for yourself is actually true. It is a real thing. It is a real awesome thing. Okay. What are we going to talk about now? Beauty, grace, abundance, love them. Just wrote that down. Sure. The things that you think are bad in your life are actually good. I didn't write that down. It's just, I just felt compelled. Someone out there needs to hear that. They're good. You put them there. How could they not be good? Recognize it. Recognize the tremendous capacity for growth for a seemingly negative polarity experiences. Also recognize if there was no negative polarity, how would you know what positive was? How would you know what positive? You'd just be static. Never nothing bad, never nothing good. All right, I am the Lord, there is none else. I'm not saying this, I'm the Lord of you. Everyone, I am, comma, the Lord, there is none else, right? You are the one and only being that is. Do you understand that? Well, that's from the Bible, right? I am is this singular man, God, mankind, womankind, whatever you call it, humankind, God, being. That's all there is. There's nothing else. If you make lords out of other things, anything, any narrative other than that your consciousness, your imagination, your awareness is the only God. There's none others, none out there. Keep looking. Keep trying. If you don't accept that, it's going to be difficult. If you do accept it, it's pretty great. The Bible, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bible here, is a textbook on psychology, metaphysics, and moods and feelings. It is not a book about historical figures who did this and that. That's ridiculous. And if there's evidence that that exists in time, historically, it's because people believe it. And that's fine too. But really what it is, it's an illumined textbook on psychology, metaphysics, moods, and feelings. If you read anything in life, it doesn't have to be the Bible. It could be literally be Harry Potter. She's a little weird with the trans shit right now. But it could be literally anything. Fucking Lord of the Rings. Could read that. They're all allegories for this one process. The monomyth, right? Joseph Campbell. They're telling the same fucking story. Resurrection, arising. Fastening your consciousness to this world, nailing yourself to the cross of existence. That's just your moods and feelings being nailed to this physical world. The way you nail it is through your feelings. We'll talk more about this, right? What does this say? Jesus. What the fuck word is that? Well, cool. There's only one humankind, God and humankind. There's one infinity. Yeah, they can't be divided or multiplied. What you perceive as a division and multiplication of various states of consciousness is just like a magic trick. It's fucking amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's one of my favorite magic tricks, but it's an illusion. Yeah, again, if you can expand your, have a limitless expansion of your conception of God, you're going to be good. If you think of it as like a dude in the sky or like these deities who are doing stuff to you, that's not very expansive. It's cool. It's like interesting, but it's not very expansive. It's not like everything, right? Rebirth is nothing more than your consciousness lifting itself up so the state that you can feel it, right? That's what you're doing. I've actually begun to perceive when I do this, when I kind of move myself through a mood or like an imagined state of being, it does actually feel like being lifted up. Being lifted up. I don't know if it's Kundalini, whatever you want to call it. It feels more in my head area that I'm being lifted up in consciousness. And it's pretty fucking awesome, right? Every feeling can be felt that has ever existed, right? Every note that's ever been played, everything that will ever exist or has existed, you have access to. This is critically important. This is something that I know I've believed since my earliest memories. I don't know if you have that memory too. I'm sure you do, but you literally have access to everything, actually. And we can see this with children. They don't know that they aren't supposed to think that. They have access to everything. They tune in to what they want. That's what this experience is, but you do have access to everything. You're basically just like learning how to change the frequency. It's really your internal frequency and vibration to get to the place that you would like to be in, and you are there. Okay. That's super important. What do we got here? Okay, this is going to rub some people the wrong way, probably. There's no reincarnation. There's no karma. And it's very possible to change any and all aspects of reality. Now, let's be clear that when I say your consciousness creates everything, your imagination is everything, that if you believe in past lives, if you believe in karma, If you believe there are destinies or fates that you cannot change, then it is true for you. You are not limited in any way, which means you can actually limit yourself because of that limitlessness. It's a paradox. It's okay. It's cool. You'll get used to it. But the real truth is it's true. There is no reincarnation. There is no karma. You are not bound to past energetic mistakes more than you feel you are bound to them. Is this an inconvenient truth for someone who feels that there should be some type of karmic retribution in the world? This person fucked me over, therefore they should be fucked over? Well, then you're missing the point. You are them, they are you. Whatever you do to another, you do to yourself. There is no karma. It doesn't mean something then is going to happen to you, but that is just literally the active principle. I know it's tough. It's pretty shitty when you look at people in the world and they're like, wow, they're really doing fucked up things. There's got to be some mechanism, surely, that's in control of that. And there is, rest assured, it's their own consciousness, but they can play that game as long as possible. There is no karma. There is no reincarnation. The only reincarnation that, as far as I know, feels accurate is this version of you in this life. As you move through it, maybe in different time periods, that's totally possible, is like the final destination of realization for this. That is just how it works. That's true for people who can hear that and believe it to be true, which should place this amazing power and kind of just clarity into what you're doing here. That's a very fucking cool thing to do, to incarnate with the ability to recognize you are everything. That's a very powerful state to be in. And I doubt that that's just limited to what we call humans. I'd be surprised if the animating creative force, God, whatever you want to call it, doesn't embed this in every aspect of itself. How could it not, right? So what does forgiveness have to do with all of this shit, right? If there is no other and there's only one, what is forgiveness? It's essentially to give something for another, right? This is close to the law of substitution, which we're going to talk about today. So to forgive something, and you know what it feels like to forgive. All right, well, forgive them. It doesn't always have to be. That's how I forgive, apparently. All right. Jesus Christ, no. Just genuine forgiveness. It's to give something for something else. What will you do? What will you replace your hateful, distorted opinion of another or a situation or perhaps yourself? What are you going to give in place of that? What are you going to substitute? This is the law of substitution. You have a mood, you have a feeling, you have a circumstance, you have a relationship, you have some aspect that you are not digging at all. You're just like, oh, fuck this. This is some bullshit. I don't really want to be doing this. Give something else for it. Replace the mood. Substitute. What did Neville Goddard call it? Beauty for ashes. You got ashes. These ashes. What am I going to do with these ashes? I don't know. I would like some beauty there instead. So find what it is you would like to feel. This isn't denying feelings, too. I'm a very emotional person. That is both, it's a double-edged sword. It means I can really propel myself to very awesome places because that is the active kind of generator of our experience here. But it also means I can be prone to outbursts and potentially even spiraling in the opposite polarity. Usually not that long. I'm very kind of quick, mercurially moving through these things. Thanks, Mercury, on my midheaven in Leo. But it is a natural state because emotion is the driving force here. It feeds the subconscious. How you feel creates your reality. That's a wonderful thing. But you want to make sure you can actually stabilize your moods when it is also necessary. And so let's say you find a part of you that feels unbalanced. I don't know, maybe it's relationship with the insecurity or, whether you're good enough or whether you can actually do something. You're like, I don't know. I don't feel like maybe I can. You replace that with a feeling, with a genuine feeling. This can be through the imaginal technique of building a scene and kind of trusting that it exists, but it can also just be a genuine feeling of like, no, I actually can do that. I'm actually a very confident person. I don't have problems with this at all. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to do this no matter what. If you can catch that mood and catch that feeling and replace it by forgiveness, you are giving something for that other state, it will happen. Does this sound wrong to you? Does this feel like, well, when I'm in a negative state, I just cannot do that? Okay. Maybe a negative thing just happened. Maybe you had an outburst. Maybe there was a flare up in some type of way. You're out of it. You know that you fucking, oh man, maybe it didn't really, not really how you want to express yourself. Remember, whatever you impress yourself with, feeling wise, you will express. So let's say you express something that you didn't want to. Rage, anger, sad, whatever it is. Sadness, not so much. You're okay. It's good to express sadness a lot. Not all the time. Not as a manipulation thing. Don't do that. This is the trick with emotions. They can be positive or negative. They're neutral at their core, but you can charge them in either way. But let's say you're like, all right, I really shouldn't have done that. Now you caught something. And say, okay, I caught this mood of self-reflection, and I would now like to replace, when I get in situations that maybe I get triggered in or feel bad and act a way I don't intend to, I would like to replace that with a full feeling of confidence that I don't have that issue. I actually act in perfect alignment and harmony with myself. That's it. Just replace the mood. If again you go into the same pattern, do it again. It's practice. If you give up and say, this is bullshit, this doesn't work, okay, well then that's also going to be your results. Also an important thing. There's an aspect of resiliency and getting back on your horse with this shit that is critical for success. Is it actually necessary to fail to win? No. But the lessons you learn from failing or seemingly failing or things not lining up exactly the way you wanted are critically important for stabilizing the belief that this is actually how shit works, right? Eventually, you change habits like negative self-talk, judgment of others and yourself. You replace them with right thinking, feeling, and action. You'll know it. You'll be like, holy shit, I'm really feeling like I'm doing a good job. There's a lot of shit going on in my life, and I feel like I'm doing a good job. That's a great feeling. It's how I feel now. But what it took to get me to this point was 3 months of like fucking chaos. My life was amazing the whole time. Don't get me wrong, but like a total chaos, total fucking chaos. And again, that chaos is there to put you where you're supposed to be. That's you putting yourself where you're supposed to be because you are the only thing, because we're all one. That's fun. Okay. The Christ. Let's talk a little bit about Jesus Christ. Not a man. State of consciousness. Remembering, rising in consciousness, remembering that you are everything. Holy shit. I am Christ-like. Have Christ-like conceptions of yourself, of your friends, of your family, of your children, parents. Have Christ-like, have beautiful ideas and ideals and conceptions of who they are. It costs you nothing. See what happens. Do you want to be fed by what they've done in the past? Do you want to be fed by circumstance? Do you want to reinforce that by saying this is the type of person that does that? This type of person does that. Guess what they're going to do in your world? Do that. If you hold beautiful, loving visions of people in your life and radiate that out into the world, what do you think you get? Do you think that has a dampening effect on manifesting a life of your dreams in a positive way? You think it has a bad effect? Are you worried also when I say positive that it's overly optimistic and looking over aspects of life that are painful or sad or difficult? Then you don't fucking get it. I'm sorry. I don't bring up that stuff as much as maybe some other people because it's obvious that that is an aspect of our life and existence. But do you understand it doesn't have to be a painful situation to go through something sad? You can feel whatever you want to call that. I've recognized this especially over the past few weeks. You can feel that deep beauty of pain. I'm like a fucking supervillain there. Jesus Christ. But there is a beauty to everything we experience here. The sooner you accept that, paradoxically, your experiences are infused with this sense of beauty and lightness. And if you don't like that, then you don't have to like it. Trust me, no matter what, you will get experiences of both polarities. They may, for me, since my life is genuinely pretty positive in its expressions, there are some difficult things at times. Of course, like anyone else, I will reveal those in due time. But fucking, I gotta go to DMT world and have soul-sucking entities project over my friends in vampiric ways. It's okay. Just don't get caught up in your delusions is all. Believe you have recently... What is this? I don't know. God, my writing is so fucking bad here. Forget the past, forget the future, turn within, and recognize you really are the Christ, though. This is like a lot of these Christ consciousness readings that are coming up next week. Is that next week? That's what this is about. You really are the Christ. You are Osiris. You are Isis. Pick whatever you want. You are this divine being, remembering who you are, and then preaching the gospel, the good spell, God's word, the good word, to as many people as possible. You don't even have to explicitly do it like I do. I'm pretty obvious. It's a little hacky to be obvious, to be honest. I gotta yak out here and say, you're God, you're God, your imagination is God, until eventually people are like, oh, maybe this fucking guy. So I guess maybe something he's saying is true, but you don't have to do that. You can do it through your art. You can do, in fact, me talking about this stuff, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love it. But I much prefer to make music. That's why I imbue a lot of these episodes with music. Let's put you in little different states. It's cool. That's why I do it. And that was my dream, by the way. My biggest dream. Active imaginal act. Still going on. Many components to it. A year and a half ago, right, I left my soon-to-be ex-wife and 2 small children. One was like a month or 2 old, right? Dastardly move, but I had to do it. Internally, I had to do this. I was compelled to do this. Is it because I'm a selfish piece of shit? Maybe, but I had to do it. There was an inner calling where I had to do it. I also know myself to be someone who is kind and considerate, ultimately. Really, I knew that, but I had to do this. Got readings from a bunch of people, all telling me the same thing, all reflecting the same reality back to me. And my dream at that time that really compelled all of these actions was not that I was in an unhappy marriage that I didn't want to be in and was affecting our kids. Not that. It's true. It was that I just wanted to do what I've always wanted to do, which is be free to make music and do the things I wanted to do. That didn't mean I wasn't going to see my kids. It didn't mean I wasn't going to see my ex-wife. It had nothing to do with that. In fact, the relationship I have with my children is fucking fantastic. I love it. It's infused with so much more joy and presence than it ever has been, truthfully. Didn't know that at the time, though, but I knew I had this grand imaginal act that I was going to be doing what I knew I was supposed to be doing. So many things happened in between that time and where I am now. But what I can tell you, happily and confidently, is I truly am as happy and fulfilled as I've ever been. I'm in a space and place where I'm able to make music whenever I want to and take that, even when I was going through heartbreak, just unabashed heartbreak, still peeled myself up off the couch and was fucking making music all the time. It's what I really want to do. I found that thing. I recognize how blessed and lucky I am to have found that thing and know it with certainty. You also have those things in your life that you know with certainty. They may be scary, that you may be afraid of them. That's just your devil inside being projected out. You're good. You got this shit. I tend to do things in a pretty dramatic way. It's nice for other people. It takes the heat off them. But I am here to be living proof that when you follow your dreams, good shit does happen. For real. For everyone. You have to be honest with yourself about what your dreams are too. Does that mean everyone's going to be a superstar? Going to be fucking Britney Spears? Am I really using Britney Spears as a reference? I don't know. You're all going to be whoever your famous person is. Maybe in your own way, but is that the most important thing to you? That everyone knows who you are? Everyone? A megastar? Or do you just want like a solid group of fucking cool people appreciating what you put out in the world? Does that maybe sound good? Start there and then see what happens. Maybe then you evolve into your grandest and wildest dreams. Just focus on what you love is what I'm saying. That's what I've done. That's what's worked. That's the only thing I really know, truthfully, besides your imagination and your consciousness does create this reality, which is amazing. And if you take what I said before, that you will naturally calibrate to a state of grace, abundance, love, and peace, you can be confident that no matter how reckless or crazy your decisions seem, it's going to work out. And that's trust too. You think you get to see the fucking end every single time of how you get to see the end. You think you get to see the entire process of how everything lines up, getting you to your felt destination? Sorry. That would be lame, by the way. It's like having a puzzle all figured out for you and then being like, oh, cool, a picture. Great. Put the puzzle together. Truthfully. A lot of devil reversed energy going on. That's cool. If you're still desiring, here's the Neville Goddard thing. I'll drop a few of them. If you're still desiring, stop it right now. Ask yourself what it would be like were your desire a reality. How would you feel if it were already the one you would like to be? The moment you catch that mood, you are thinking from it. This is where desire kind of gets a bad rap, right? They're like, desire is so bad. Don't do it. Do it until it shows you what you want, and then stop doing it, and then live from the end of having already had it. But it will point you where you want to go. It's kind of like a micro version of what we're doing in life, if you think about it, which is nice. Freedom and forgiveness are indissolubly, that's an easy word to say, linked. Not to forgive is to be at war with ourselves, for we are freed according to our capacity to forgive. You understand? You gotta just forgive. They're the same thing. It's totally fine. It's up to me to either bless myself or curse myself. I can choose life or I can choose death. I can choose the good, but I am free. I can choose the evil. It's entirely up to me. This accounts for everything. How can there be evil? How could there be a God who does this to babies? Because someone's fucking imagining that. You're probably imagining it. You're like, there's dead babies in the world. It's just a thing we have in this place. Sorry. It's up to you. Literally just bless yourself. Bless yourself. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Do whatever you got to do. Want to make it ritualistic about it? You want to use the stars and the planets? They're great. They're wonderful. Just don't give them any more power than they deserve, which is your power. Use them as fun tools. Use people as awesome reflections of the true essence of divinity. Do that. Have a good time with that. Do you know who Satan is? This is an Neville Goddard. The word means opponent, opposite. The world, reflecting the opposite of what you want to see, is your opponent. You're Satan or the devil. That's it. And it's not like this creepy guy with horns gonna be, oh, you can't have what you want. That's all the world is telling you. You can't have what you want. You can't have that. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it's your conception of yourself being reflected back to you. There's no devil. It's just your opponent. It's your opposite. You don't want what you see. You don't want what you experience. Go inside and change it. Go inside and motherfucking change it. This world is the dream. What you impress, you express. Already mentioned that. Facts. Go within and realize what you call external reality is only a projection of internal space and feelings, I should put in. You wouldn't know what up is if you didn't experience down. It's all good. It's totally cool. Enjoy it. Me saying I don't know where my phone is, it's just me reading my tweets now. Yesterday, I was on a live on Instagram, and I was like, yeah, it's on my phone. I can't find it. Like 5 times. Doing the fucking stream on my phone. So if there's that scattered energy, just it's okay. It's totally okay. You're good. I promise you. The law of substitution we covered. Love frees, hate binds. It's that simple. Love frees, hate binds. Buy Bitcoin, guys. That's it. That's my final message of this podcast. Christ consciousness readings are coming up next week. You can book those. They are recorded. They're a little different. They're a lot different than the readings that you get on Instagram, which are the 15-minute variety. The Patreon is popping. We're getting shit going. A feature I haven't been speaking about, in addition to every other thing that's on there, you instantly get access to, is whenever I do a live stream or pop on something live, I tell the patrons first. So if you're like, hey, like, you know, because a lot of these things I don't record, and people are like, well, you should record them. No, I don't record some of these things. They're in the moment. That's how it works. So if you want like that type of stuff, that's there too. You got the Discord, the crypto stuff, obviously. I mean, I've already spoken about it enough, and I'm not trying to convince anyone. Get access to that. Big shout out to the guys at Ned. Don't have to mention this episode. I will. They're just cool fucking guys. Go to helloned.com. Use the code SYNC, SYNC at checkout. Get 15 or 20% off your order this week. Get the CBD, full spectrum hemp oil. They got a ton of other products that are really fucking cool. Great guys. Go check them out. What else I got going on? I don't know. Music. Lots of music stuff coming out, guys. Super excited to share a lot of that with you. Get some snow tomorrow. That's going to be fun. Bunch of snow. That's it. All right. Cool. Until next week, happy imagining.